I've been spending a lot of time watching spiders lately, seeing how they go about their day, and I'm not an expert, not anywhere close, just someone in a Joro infested area who wanted to share some of the neat and strange things that I've been seeing and maybe give a first hand version of their story. I'm still not comfortable with how the Joro got here, their exponential growth, how quickly they've spread. It reminds me of the brown mammated stink bug. They arrived in the early 2000s, and within a few years, they were everywhere. They're still spreading across the world today, a persistent problem for farmers, gardeners, and homeowners. You've probably noticed them around, clustering on windows and vents as the weather gets a little bit cooler, searching for warmth. It's one thing to appreciate about orb weavers, the Joro included. They prefer staying outside and help catch pests before they get in. In my first spider video, I talked about how to tell Joros apart from our native orb weavers. At a glance, their size and color, it resembles several southeastern species, like the golden silk and basilica orb weavers and the garden spider. The garden spider, they were the largest common orb weaver that you'd see around here. I was entranced growing up by their size, the zigzag stitching, those bold colors, and their defensive bounce that they do when startled. They rock their web back and forth, and I don't make a habit of intentionally trying to scare them. They're pretty used to seeing me, but sometimes I'll catch them off guard or napping. It's hard to tell which one. And change since 2013, 2014. I can't remember when the first Joro was documented here, but in the past couple of years, their numbers have exploded. This year, I counted one garden spider for every 50 Joros. Now, having your backyard invaded, taken over, whether you like or dislike spiders, it's a lot to process. The Joro invasion is gaining attention, news stories, articles, people like me trying to make sense of it. Now, my first ID video, it came from worry that the garden spider and other native orb weavers, they might get swept up in the confusion. I got even more worried researching online, having searches turn up garden spiders, other orb weavers mistaken for Joros, or webs swapped around, and probably, worst of all, egg sacs misidentified. These, tucked beneath protective silk, belong to Argiope aurantia, the garden spider. She lived her whole life right here. I passed her by every day on my walks with Rhea and Lily. She died after making the fourth one, either ran out of energy or fell victim to a bird or mud dauber wasp. It was sad seeing her empty web. It still is, but now there's no web there at all. I think she lived a good life for a spider, always had something to eat, and these are her legacy. Thousands of tiny lives that will hatch in the spring, part of the next generation. Joro spider egg sacs look different, more like this. But these, they belong to a native funnel weaver. The only reason I know that is I happened by her the other day when she was putting them here. Even with apps or field guides, it can be hard to know exactly what you've found. Plants, mushrooms, spider eggs, really everything that has something and 10 other things that look nearly just like it. These are the Joro eggs, just like the funnel weaver. The only reason I'm confident telling you that is because I watched it happen. She has them tightly wrapped up on this red cedar branch, about as high as I want to go up on my 10-foot ladder. It's not a level spot. There's devil's walking stick and a honey locust in the direction I'm leaning over. I mentioned it at the end of my replanting video. I'm allergic to red cedar, so with that and the thorns below, Joro eggs. They seem to prefer putting them pretty high up in trees or on the eaves of houses. I found this bundle on a fallen branch I was taking to the burn pile. They remind me of water lotus seed pods, or a smaller version of the golden mystery snail egg clutches, just wrapped up in silk. They have that same white, waxy look with a red undertone. Now that we've seen their eggs, let's talk a little about their webs. At first glance, Joro webs, they look chaotic with all these random strands in front of and behind their large orbs. That's one of the things I've come to look at a little differently. Every glint of silk was processed, spun, and placed intentionally. Nature doesn't follow a lot of rules, but one thing that's almost always true is the energy of action is only spent for a reason. What looks like randomness, well, that's to me, looking at it as a person who's never built a web before. When I step back and look at it, trying to see it through her eyes, imagine being a spider. I think she knows what she's doing and has found a creative way to be able to build where other spiders just aren't so confident. Each web is a masterpiece that comes at a cost. Silk is rich in protein, and producing it takes time and energy. Spiders, they won't just abandon their webs. If they're looking to move spots, many will eat it or repurpose what they can, trying to recycle the silk, gaining back some of the energy that went into spinning it. You'll always find exceptions. Life likes to do that, like this Joro. Her web was rained on by leaves, and instead of taking the time to pull them out or take down the web, it looks like she just decided to move a foot over and start over again. Their web is their livelihood. They care for it like anyone, their home. In it, there's protection being suspended above the crawling things that might want to eat them. They can move agilely and with sure footing, with bodies and legs designed to navigate the strands, catch and wrap up prey to sustain themselves. If they happen to fall or become displaced, they lose all that. Like this Joro, I'm not sure where she fell or came from. I saw her crawling around on my way to water the greenhouse. There's a habit you pick up living back in the woods. You learn to watch the ground when you're walking, trying not to step on anything. 'Cause sure enough, when you don't, you're just about guaranteed to startle yourself back into it. These are just rat snakes trying to warm up in the sun that I interrupted walking around looking for spiders. Rat snakes are good to have around. They'll even vibrate their tails in the leaves to help you see them, like let's say you're looking at your camera and not where you're stepping. It's mimicry, trying to sound like a rattlesnake, but it's more of a defensive bluff than a threat. They're not the danger noodles, that's what my wife likes to call them, that you really have to worry about. Just another friendly neighbor. Moving in the grass is difficult for her, and I don't know where she's headed, so I'm gonna keep on my way. Back to the Joro's web. It's unique, strong, layered, complex, and wide. Unlike the single plane webs of most orb weavers, hers can have 3 distinct layers. A sticky capture sheet in the middle, flanked by 2 strong anchor layers that seem to absorb wind and debris. Not every Joro builds this way. I've seen a good bit of variation in their layering, but most follow this pattern. The design and the strength of her silk allow them to build almost anywhere and bridge large gaps. Other spiders seek solid, stationary points or things that if they happen to move in the wind, they just don't go that far. Joro spiders don't concern themselves with that. They'll spin on whatever's available, turning tall grass or muscadine vines into stable scaffolding. I've seen webs in remarkable spots held together only by tension and precision. These outer strands aren't sticky, they're golden, tough, like thread. You can grab hold of them and let them go. Debris will bounce right off, and the spider can come by and pick out whatever happens to get stuck without damaging her delicate inner web. The one we saw earlier didn't invest as much in layering, which is probably a big contributor to why so many leaves got tangled in her orb. I ended up with a lot of extra bits, spider happenings, chance encounters, and things I wanted to share that I couldn't work into this video. Subscribe to my channel if you're interested in seeing those. I'll do my best to work it in between my other stories. This is the most unusual behavior I've seen in these spiders. We got 6 large females and a dozen males all living on top of each other. It's not a true communal web, but an interconnected network. Each female will keep her own central orb, but they're sharing anchor lines merged into a single framework. I've never seen that in our orb weavers. Spiders around here, they don't do this. They aren't known for social behavior, but Joros seem a little bit more tolerant. Maybe it's density, maybe it's adaptation, or maybe they're all from the same hatch. Whatever the reason, it's new to me. Something I've only seen in open spaces, never deep in the woods. If you've seen anything like this, let me know in the comments. For all I know, this could be something that's only happening in my backyard. The males are tiny compared to the size that the females can grow to be. It's common for orb weavers. You have small, dull-colored males with large, elegant females. Our native orb weavers live solitary lifestyles. Hopeful males will seek out potential partners when it's that time, and they can wait for days on the edge of a female's web, tugging on the lines to announce themselves. Playing the dangerous game of being noticed or being eaten. It's a high-risk game written into their biology, drawn by instinct, not reason, and typically gone again shortly thereafter for self-preservation. Not the Joro. Going back to their more social demeanor, the males seem to move right into the female's web. You can often find more than one. She'll still kick him away if he starts to irritate her, or run him over if they get in her way, but I've yet to see one being eaten or wrapped up for later. I've yet to see the Joro do that to any spider at all. So why the fascination, and why the concern? The Joro isn't dangerous. It catches pests, eats invasive bugs, avoids houses, and isn't aggressive. It doesn't sound bad. At first. I think the Joro's getting so much attention because they're a very in-your-face spider, often literally, with bright yellow large bodies and large webs. They're active during the day and very bold, and where they'll build, it makes them stand out. Big, obvious species like Joros or stink bugs, they draw focus, while invisible, less photogenic invaders like the woolly adelgid just quietly devastate ecosystems. Distribution could be another factor. Unlike other spiders, most every other living thing, you don't have to look in a specific place to have a chance of seeing one. You can find Joros anywhere. Woods, suburbs, city streets. Their flexibility makes them nearly omnipresent once established. Now, as far as concern, my concern comes from what I've seen, not what I've read. I've watched Joros build directly over the webs of garden spiders, spiny and marbled orb weavers, pumpkin spiders, nearly every web builder that I know. They don't kill them, but they're taking their airspace, intercepting their prey. I've lived in Georgia my whole life, and I can tell you that there seems to be plenty of bugs and insects to go around, but that doesn't help our native spiders if they can't catch anything because a Joro's gone and built a massive web over top theirs. This year I've seen fewer natives and more Joros. That seems to be the trend. I've also found hummingbirds and monarchs tangled up in their webs. It's rare but heartbreaking. Monarchs, toxic from the milkweed they eat, they're not targets, and the Joros aren't trying to catch any birds. It's just they're victims of circumstance. But now I clear around my feeder, popular nectar plants, and milkweed to try to protect them. Small gestures, but it makes me feel better. It all comes down to competition and change. It's competition for other spiders, and it's a change for all the flying things. Joros are putting webs where nobody expects them to be, places that they've never been before. That can go a long way. Nature is tuned to a natural rhythm. It has its own beat and pacing, and change is absorbed gradually, accommodated organically. Fast, proliferative change, caused by invasive species like the Joro, it doesn't always fit so well, and it can have permanent repercussions. The Joro didn't choose to come here, but now they're part of the story. No one really knows how this will all play out, if the Joro will settle in, fade back, or take over. They've been here for about 10 years now. Each spider can make hundreds more. They're adaptable to accommodating different environments, and they're creative travelers. They can parachute on the wind. There's no way to undo that. Maybe one day we'll find a natural control, but for now they're pretty much steering the ship. I'm just one person, neck deep in a growing number of invasive species already in the midst of an uphill battle with wisteria, kudzu, bamboo, and all the rest, recording what I see and moving webs that get in the way or threaten the things I'm trying to help out. You can help too if you see them. Report your sightings to the people that are tracking them, tracking their spread. Projects like Joro Watch. I'll put that link in the description. The more we understand them, the better we'll understand the web that we're all part of too. Because that's what it is. It's one great web. Every strand connected, every life tugging at the others. And if you step back far enough, you can see the pattern. Living, fragile, beautiful, always changing. That was a quick walk around my grandmother's garden. I've been spending the past month or so trying to clear it out, return it to what it looked like before. Got overgrown with a few years of nobody being out here to tend it. A lot of saplings and mix of wild growth, invasive growth. Yeah, that was figured I'd give some context about why I think so much about these Joro spiders. I see them every single day. And the ones out here, they've gotten a little bit better about building their webs above my walking height. It's kind of nice. I've also been clearing out a lot of the lower hanging brush, so they've been moving up. They do a wonderful job at pest management. Catch gnats, mosquitoes, all kinds of beetles. There are a lot of them. And some of them are pretty big. The lady over there is the one that I ran through, made a video on her. She's still doing well. She's moved up into the tree canopy too. She's still by far the largest one that I've seen out here.